baby. With me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the command post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, am your commander-in-chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. A couple of items that I want to get to tonight. Want to tie up a loose end from the other day. Want to drop a couple of things on you that we will use as fodder for a discussion that we will have tomorrow night on the show live. And also, new number alert. New number alert. We'll get to that at the end of today's show. However, I want to start with the video that I did the other day on Anthony Walker Jr., who was coming to town. First of all, I want to thank each and every single one of you who corrected me because I was dead wrong. I was spreading misinformation. I thought it was an in and out operation. Fly in the same day, fly out, and a decision is made. He ultimately flew in Monday, met with the team Tuesday, went back to Cleveland on Wednesday, and ultimately signed a one-year deal with the Browns. So I thought that he was always going to go back to Cleveland. Everything that I had read about him prior to the meeting with Washington suggested that he never wanted to leave Cleveland and that they wanted him back as well. He's adopted the Midwest as a second home. He went to Northwestern. He was drafted by the Indianapolis Colts. Then he went to Cleveland. He's pretty much spent the last decade of his life in the Midwest, and he likes it. So I never thought he was really leaving. I think he used us, which I have no problems with. I think he used us to figure out what a one-year deal looked like on the market for him, that he could take that number back to Cleveland and get something comparable. And that's ultimately what happened. And so good for him. I wasn't interested. I told you guys this before he even met with Washington. You know, I thought he had already met with Washington. And a lot of you were like, dude, he hasn't met. He literally flew in today and he'll meet with the team tomorrow. But the same thing applied, right? He didn't sign. And so that did end up being the outcome, even though I jumped the gun on it. And so I didn't want him. And I told you guys I didn't want him. Like, he's coming off of a major injury. I don't know if he's fully healthy. And that's the assumption. But I can't assume. And I don't like to assume, especially when it comes to this team. I need to see it first. And having not been able to lay eyes on it, I'm good. I'm going to pass. So I'm glad he went back to Cleveland. But what it did identify and make, I think, very clear to us is that they're looking to add an additional linebacker at some point. And I don't think there's much left in free agency. And I've said this really for the last week and a half. I think it's ultimately going to be via the draft, but we'll see. However, now that you know what free agency has brought us, essentially, I don't think there's going to be many more moves made by Washington free agency. There is still a second wave. And then I told you after the draft, there's another wave of guys that are going to be released. But knowing what you know right now, based off of what's been done this entire offseason leading up to the draft now, give Washington a grade for how you feel like this offseason has gone to this point. You know we have 8 picks. We got a compensatory pick. We got 8 draft selections going into the draft. You know what the offseason has been. You fire Scott Turner. You hire Eric Bieniemy. You reshuffle the deck with the coaching staff. You got a brand new quarterbacks coach. You got a brand new wide receivers coach, brand new defensive backs coach. Again, the deck has been shuffled. You got a new offensive line coach. All that has been done. You know about the players we brought in free agency. You cleaned up the offensive line. Andrew Wiley brought in. Nick Gates brought in. You bring back Danny Johnson. You bring back Tyler Larson. You bring back F.A. Obata. You bring back All-Pro Revo. You sign Cody Barton. You put in a waiver claim and you get your hands on Cam Dantzler. Okay, all of these things have taken place to this point. Marcus Kemp is now on the roster. They went out and signed a defensive lineman as well. All of these things have been done, right? So you know the moves. You know what you think needs to still be, done. What is your grade for the offseason to this point as we head into the draft? And then on top of that, okay, on top of that answer that you give me, I'm also looking for what is the biggest need? And I asked you guys this the last live show, but we never really got to sink our teeth into it, and that's my fault. But I'm asking you again because what I'm going to ultimately do with the answer that you give me, the grade, okay, and this answer here about the biggest needs is I want to take the best answers and I want to read them on the show live tomorrow night, and we'll have an open discussion about these things. So leave me a couple of things. All right. And again, you can just give me the grade, or you can give me a grade and an explanation as to why you gave the grade. And then I want to know what you think the biggest need is left on this roster. And if you want to give me a list of needs and you want to put them in order, knock yourself out. but I'm looking for the biggest need you think is left on this team as we head into the draft. So grade, biggest need left for the team heading into the draft. And again, some of the better answers, we're going to go over them tomorrow night live on the show. So we got new numbers that have been given out to the players that have signed here, or we put in a waiver claim and got a guy. New number alert. I know it's a little early for this because we won't be seeing these guys on a football field active anytime soon. So this is in one ear, out the other. It's March. We won't see these guys until probably July at the earliest, but more likely than not, August on the football field. So I get it. It's a little bit early for this. Hey, look, they gave us the numbers. I'm going to give them to you. So let's take a look at the new numbers. So Cam Dantzler is going to be number 3. Jacoby Brissett, number 12. Marcus Kemp, number 19. Cody Barton, 57. Nick Gates, 63. Andrew Wiley, 71. And Abdullah Anderson, 92. So those are the new numbers as of right now. Nothing really stands out. I do like Cam Dantzler getting into number 3. Brissett getting into 12. It is what it is. Nothing here really stands out. Wes Schweitzer's old 71 is going to Andrew Wiley. Hopefully he'll be healthier than Schweitzer was here, but equally as effective, if not more so, than Wes was for us the last 3 years. So looking forward to seeing how these guys pan out for us. There's their numbers. And so with that said, I've given you instructions. I've given you what I'm looking for from you guys. Grade for free offseason as a whole. You know, all of the moves that have been made and what you ultimately think is the biggest need left for the Commanders as we head into the draft. And I want to ask you guys another question. And you don't have to answer this in the comment section if you don't want to. We could discuss this tomorrow night. And that was the plan, but it's on my mind. It's on my brain. And I may forget tomorrow because I've been meaning to ask you guys this. Anyway, we'll get into explicit details, though, tomorrow night. I'll give you the reels on it tomorrow. But I just want to throw this question out there as well. How do you guys feel about Washington potentially being on Hard Knocks this upcoming year? It seems like a perfect year for them to be on it. I've always had mixed feelings about Washington being on Hard Knocks. Again, we'll get into the explicit details tomorrow. I'm torn by it because on one end, you always want the inside look at your team. You want to learn guys' personalities, you know, look at the day-to-day operations and kind of see. Like, we got a good sense and feel that the Detroit Lions were on the cusp of doing something. And we saw that because of Hard Knocks, right? And then look at what ultimately happened with their season. They start 1-6 and they finish the season off 9-8 and just barely missed the playoffs. And you could see that coming by watching Hard Knocks, right? I want to get a sense for what this team is. I want to get a sense of the coaching staff. I don't know if we'll have a player that they can follow that is a long shot to make the team. That could have easily have been, you know, our tight end last year. You know, they could have followed him, and that would have been a hell of a story that he makes the team. You know, Amani Rodgers. I don't know if we'll have a guy like that this year. That's a super long shot to make the team. But whatever the case may be, there's a pseudo quarterback controversy. I just think off the strength of Dan Snyder selling the franchise and having a brand new owner, I think that just in itself would be enough of a draw to, you know, bring, you know, the Hard Knocks crew out here. But I'm not advocating for it. I just want to know what you guys think. And again, we'll talk about it in greater detail tomorrow night. I just wanted to throw that out there because it's been on my brain and I keep forgetting. So I wanted to throw that out there so that even if I forget tomorrow because I brought it up today, somebody will bring it up tomorrow and we can discuss it in its totality tomorrow. So with that said, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. Thank you for joining me here on the Command Post. You know what it is. Post up and take command. I'll chop it up with you guys tomorrow night on the Command Post, 9:30 p. Looking forward to it. Until next time, you guys take care. God bless and good.